All right, we have a few bills in front of us today. We will try to dispatch things relatively quickly, as many of them have Senate, many of them have House cognates, and there's not too much controversial, and frankly, not much that'll change people's votes. If the clerk will open the rolls, take attendance. It looks like the live feed may not be running yet, so let's hold. The meeting has begun. All right, there we go. All right. All right, we have a quorum. Thank you. The clerk will close the rolls. All right. We'll go ahead and say we have a Senate patron here. Senator Salim, my understanding is that there's peace in the valley in SB 306 and that you have a substitute that you'd like to take place, or has that changed since today's floor discussion in the Senate?
Mr. Chair, that is correct. But however, I did speak to the patron on this side. The Senate version that's carried on our end, the House version, will most likely end up going to conference.
Okay, but for now, let's go ahead and clerk will report the substitute. Thank you. All right. Second. Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Okay, the substitute is before us. I understand, Senator, there is peace in the valley, more or less, on this. Is there anybody who wants to speak against this bill? There is nobody here to speak against this bill. Let's go ahead. A proper motion on this bill would be to, if we chose to act favorably, we can go ahead and report it.
Move to report.
Mr. Chairman, so the substitute basically conforms the bill with what we put out of the House, correct?
I would answer the delegate that the substitute is similar. It is halfway between what the Senate did and what the House did.
It's the compromise.
It is the compromise position that, in effect, says you have to have signs. Those signs will be regulated. Those signs will not just be at the front of the store, and they won't be on each plant.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is that a fair description? Okay.
That is correct. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Motion report has been properly seconded. The clerk will open the rolls. That's substituted. Thank you. All right, Senate Bill 306 reports with a vote of 9-1. The clerk will close the rolls. Thank you very much, Senator.
Sure.
All right, next in front of us is Senate Bill 11 by Senator Favola. My understanding is that, Mr. Clerk, is this in the same posture as the one that passed the House right now? Is this in the same posture? No. Okay. Can you explain the differences for us?
Mr. Chairman, so this Senate bill includes all animals, and the House one is companion or equine animals. And the Senate bill and the House bill have conflicting language on how the court may enforce this order after a person has violated the order. All
right. Let's go ahead and conform this then to the House version.
Move to conform it.
Okay. It's been moved and conformed to second. All in favor shall say aye. Aye. All opposed shall say no. All right. A proper motion on this one. If we chose to act favorably, we would move to report it with substitute. Okay, it's been properly moved and reported, moved and seconded to report with a substitute. The clerk shall open the rolls. All right, the clerk shall close the rolls. The conform bill is reported on a vote of 7-3. Thank you very much. Next in front of us is SB 93. Madam Attorney, can you tell us the differences between, there actually is not a corollary to this one, is there? Oh, no, there is. Yeah, there is. Go ahead. Yeah, can you go ahead and tell us the differences between these two?
Mr. Chairman, so the Senate bill permits a locality to establish the registry and has like the permissive requirements to be on that registry. And the House bill requires the superintendent of state police to create the registry and requires certain information to be on that registry.
Thank you very much.
Move to report.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded to report this bill as is. The clerk will open the rolls. All right, it looks like we are, go ahead, Ease, for a second. All right, the clerk will close the roll. SB 93 reports on a vote of 6-4. All right, we've done SB 306. Next in front of us, we'll need, can someone go ahead and reach out to Senator Surivel, just tell him that his bill is coming up and we'll need to see him for that. SB 369. SB 4, okay, committee will be at ease.
Sharon Cords.
Order.
Mr. Chairman, having voted on the prevailing side by which we reported the SB 93 from Senator Stanley, I'd like to move to reconsider that vote.
It's been moved that we reconsider that vote to report. All in favor shall say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the clerk will open the rolls. SB 93, it's motion report.
Move the substitute.
There's no,
Oh,
we're,
no
not,
substitute.
we're not moving a substitute.
Thank you.
All right, that motion, that SB 93 reports on a vote of 5-4 with one abstention. Thank you. All right, Senator Evan.
Hi, I've got SB 369 dealing with companion animals. This bill would make it a
Right. Just, 1 second, Senator. I have a letter here. If this, the committee can choose to act as it will on this. If we choose for this bill to report, it must be referred to the Committee on Courts of Justice. Yep. All right. Go ahead. Go ahead, Senator.
Yeah, this bill would make it a classified felony to deliberately harm a companion animal. Currently, in the Virginia law, it's only a felony if a companion animal either dies or has to be euthanized as a result of injuries from trapping or poisoning. And this bill would align the penalty for harming livestock with those of companion animals. According to the FBI, Virginia, unfortunately, is in the top 5 in several animal abuse categories. And while companion animals may not bring the monetary support that livestock do, anyone with a pet knows they're very much part of the family. We had 2 incidents in Alexandria. One in February, last February, there was an incident of an individual throwing poisoned meat over a neighbor's fence because the neighbor was barking continuously. And no dogs were hurt since the dog's owner saw footage of her neighbor throwing the poison over the fence. And the individual was charged with a misdemeanor since no pets were killed. And in July, someone left 9 pieces of sausage embedded with fish hooks on the sidewalk on Duke Street. One dog was taken to the animal hospital as a result of trying to eat one of the sausages. It's a felony to harm or torture a companion animal in 19 states, including our neighbors, North Carolina and Maryland. We just want to give prosecutors the option for that penalty,
Thank you very much.
particularly when it's malicious.
Thank you very much, Senator. Are there questions from the committee for the patron?
Yes, sir.
Delegate Weber, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question for the patron. What is the penalty? I mean, Class 5 felony, but what kind of penalty is associated with a Class 5 penalty?
You know, I don't know if my notes in front of me. I believe it's the second lowest felony, but maybe counsel can help me.
Delegate, if it's okay, it's going to go to court so they can deal with the penalty components in courts. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
All right.
Mr. Chairman.
It's a fine with the possibility of jail time, but I don't know the exact.
Thank you, Senator. Delegate Runyon, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question would be of the patron. As you read through the bill, this applies to foul. And does that?
We took out the foul in, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, Delegate Runyon. We meant to take out the foul. We struck through it on line 17.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, could you clarify whether foul is still in there? As I pull it up, I see that foul is still in there, but maybe I'm looking at the wrong version.
Mr. Chairman, you still have foul in there on line 18, but this one would be a Class 1 misdemeanor.
Were you?
I think that was.
Did you keep foul in there for a Class 1 misdemeanor, Senator, or did you?
I believe that was the existing law before we ratcheted up the penalty. So I believe that's the way it's supposed to be, in that it's only a Class 5 felony for other animals, for other companion animals.
Can you answer? Can you address that question?
Mr. Chairman, as it reads, that is correct. The Class 5 felony is the other animals. The Class 1 misdemeanor is the foul.
In the Class 1 misdemeanor, that is the foul, was already in code, or are we adding a new Class 1 misdemeanor for foul?
Mr. Chairman, as I read it, it was already in code.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, a clarification, I guess. I look up and it says horse, mule, pony, cattle, swine, or other livestock. So I don't see foul. My concern is, and let's, I guess, get to the end of it, is, you know, in certain agricultural practices, we have to control nuisance fowl, birds. They get into confinement operations or various things. My concern would be that this bill is so broad in that it could impact what we do working with the federal folks on control of nuisance species and avian flu and that type thing.
Delegate, if we amended the bill to strike that, would you then be in favor of it?
I think so, yes, sir.
Well, that would be changing existing law, I believe. My bill now on lines 11 refers to maliciously doing it, not, and I believe foul was part of the old code on line 17. So I don't know if you all want to do that.
Mr. Chair, at least on my version, numero 2 is new, is italicized, meaning it's new language.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if you look on line 17, after foregoing acts to any foul, that's already existing code.
We're just moving it to line.
Delegate, that's correct. It is already in the code, so we don't have to. We would be changing existing law.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Chickens and cow poop. That's what this committee's all about. All right, thank you. All right, Delegate Will.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for clarification for me, line 16 and in the description of the bill, with the intent to defraud any insurer, explain that to me.
Delegate, I just to clarify before we turn that over to the patron, that is also an existing code. You want that clarification anyway? Could we turn that over to the Madam Attorney? Would you kind of walk us through what that means?
Chairman, I'm not exactly sure.
All right, thank you. It's going to go to courts, so they're going to have a good. So we're not the right sub for those components. So that's the right question for courts. All right, thank you. With that, are there any here to testify in favor of this bill? All All right, please, we're moving through the docket quickly today. It seems to be on a positive path, so I would
Sure thing. I'll be very quick. Mr. Chair and members of the subcommittee, my name is Heidi Meinzer, and I'm the legislative liaison for the Virginia Federation of Humane Societies. I'm also a constituent of Senator Eben, and I thank him for bringing this bill. I'm also authorized on behalf of the Richmond SPCA and PETA in strong support of this bill.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee. Sarah Taylor, City of Alexandria. The city supports this as well as the Alexandria Animal Welfare League, and appreciate your support.
All right, thank you very much. Are there those here to testify against the bill? All right, I see none. The committee acts. Are there any further questions from? I think the proper motion would be to move, report, and refer to the. All right, it's been properly moved and seconded to report and refer this bill to the Committee on Courts of Justice. The clerk will open the rolls. All right, congratulations, Senator. This bill reports on a vote of 6-4 and is referred to the Courts of Justice Committee. Thank you very much. Senator Boysko, come on up.
Thank you very much. This is a simple bill. I think you will not find any controversy here. Chairman Helmer and members of the committee, this brings Senate Bill 412. The purpose of this bill is to provide low-cost veterinary care for pets whose families aren't able to afford the expensive vaccination microchipping. Allowing licensed veterinary personnel to administer free or low-cost vaccination services for animal companions such as dogs and cats will help prevent the spread of animal viruses like parvo. SB 14 will allow vaccination of dogs against viruses such as distemper, canine parvovirus, canine parainfluenza, and cats against feline viral calicivirus and feline panleukemia. All clinics will vaccinate animals according to the guidelines made by the rabies clinics in Virginia by Code 3.2-6521. In addition to vaccination services, microchipping services will also be provided for lower-income families who are not able to afford the veterinary bills. The benefits of this bill is to allow families to safely take care of their beloved pets even when they are low on funds. My bill reflects a compromise between our animal welfare advocates and the Veterinary Medical Association. This is a compromise. It will ensure that we can expand our community vaccine and chipping services to our family pets. The Virginia Federation of Humane Societies is here today to speak in favor of the bill and to answer any questions.
All right, thank you, Senator. Are there questions from the subcommittee?
Mr. Chair.
Delegate.
So my question is, when they go to one of these clinics, what we are actually doing in the bill is allowing them to do something beyond just the rabies. They can. That's all we're doing.
Mr. Chair, Delegate Weber, the answer is yes. We have worked with the Veterinary Association. There's Peace in the Valley. Previously, they were only allowed to give rabies vaccinations. This gives them the scope to do the other vaccinations that I mentioned and to do microchipping so that if they are lost, you can identify them and find them back home.
One more question, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Delegate Weber.
So these rabies clinics, they're put on by like Humane Services and all that stuff, and then what we're doing is okay, cool. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Delegate Wilt.
Question for the patron.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So in this process, we're going to the clinic. As I understand it, generally, when we move beyond the rabies vaccinations, that it requires a well visit to see if the animal that's going to be vaccinated is going to receive some of these other vaccinations or okay to handle that. I mean, is that going to be a part of this?
Mr. Chair, I'm going to let Heidi from the Federation answer the technical questions.
All right, go ahead, Heidi.
Thank you very much. Yes, just the vaccines won't necessarily require a full wellness visit, but with the compromise that we were happy with the VVMA, the veterinarian will be the one giving the vaccines and giving the microchip. So the veterinarian will be laying eyes on that animal and won't be shelter staff or other folks who are actually giving the shots.
Delegate, will that answer your question? All right. Go ahead, Delegate Runyon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Question of the patron. I believe this is correct and would like affirmation. This is permissive. So my 4-H vaccination that we do at the Rockingham Fair every year, they only need to do this. They do not need to do the other things if they choose not to. Is that correct?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, answering the question, Delegate Runyon, this allows them, says they may offer, it does not demand that they offer it. This is actually really good for our rural communities because they don't always have, access to get to the office. So this is a win-win for everybody, I think.
Thank you very much. I hear that the Humane Society, PETA, you guys are in favor of this bill, it looks like.
We are. I'm authorized to speak on behalf of the Federation, PETA, who's here, Richmond SPCA, VVMA, and the Virginia Alliance for Animal Shelters.
All in favor?
All in favor.
Oh, that's
very
great. Thank you
strong.
very much. I appreciate it. All right. Is there anybody who's opposed to this bill?
Move to report.
The committee. Okay. It's been moved to report it. Moved to report properly second. The clerk will open the rolls. All right. Senator Boysko, SB 412 reports on a vote of 9-1. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, left on our docket is SB 329 by Senator Survell. He is stuck in courts right now, but let's see if we can actually get through this bill because this is our last.
Right, and Mr. Chairman, I believe that we got a letter from this that if this goes to the, this has to go to appropriations if we do report it out.
All right, my understanding is that this passed out on a party line basis in the Senate, if that helps folks think about it. Delegate Willett, would you just take a moment to kind of read us through this bill and talk about what it does?
Yeah. We move from pets to compost on the local side.
Yeah, turn your.
Yeah. Yeah, I said we move from pets to compost. So as it's described, this would let a locality by ordinance require certain generators as defined in the bill of large quantities of organic waste to separate the organic waste from other solid waste and ensure that waste is diverted from final disposal in a refuse disposal system. The bill allows the locality to establish civil penalties for violations of the ordinance, but requires the locality to issue a warning to a generator that it's violating the ordinance prior to collecting such a penalty. Finally, the bill expresses that it would be the intent of the General Assembly that new public school buildings, and we have the patron.
Senator, the delegate was doing a great job of explaining your bill. Is there anything you wanted to add to his excellent explanation of your bill, Senator?
No, it's just a bill to give localities more authority to give us a waste stream for creating biomethane, but it's a pure local option bill, doesn't require anything on the local government side. The other thing it does requires, the part that it does require is it requires schools when designing a new school to segregate their waste, design schools to be capable of segregating waste. So again, we can have the feedstock to create biomethane. I don't believe it was opposed at all in the Senate by anybody. I'm sorry, it was. I made a joke on the floor nobody liked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Senator, for correcting the record. If
it's actually, and the one thing I didn't point out on the floor, it's actually consistent with the recommendations of the Youngkin administration's DEQ Waste Reduction Task Force. But I tried to be cute on the floor and talk about it as my mom's birthday and stuff, and I didn't bring all those things up. But
Senator, I mean, we did start this out by saying it was a party line vote in the Senate as we're trying to move it. Is there anything you'd like to add for some of the members sitting to my left on there to let them know why they'd be okay with this bill, or do you want to just let?
No, Director Rollband was here in the Senate in case he was needed to basically say that it was consistent with their task force recommendations, but he isn't here today, obviously. So.
All right. Well, there's no friend for you to dial. I don't know what that says, Senator, but we will, if there's those here who'd like to test. Any questions from the committee before, now that we have the patron here?
Move to report.
Hold on one second. Are there any here who'd like to speak on behalf of the bill?
I think
any
opposed? I forgot to tell them to come.
All right. There's nobody here on behalf or opposed to Senator Servel's bill? The committee operates by motion. The proper motion, if this was to be acted on favorably, to report and refer to the Committee on Appropriations.
Move to report and refer to appropriations.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved to report and refer this bill to the Committee on Appropriations. All those, the clerk will open the roll. Thank you. All right, clerk will close the roll. SB 329 reports and refers to the Committee on Appropriations in a vote of 8-1. That concludes.
Thanks. Sorry I was late.
That concludes the business of this subcommittee for 2024. Thank you all. Thank you to the staff for an amazing job. We appreciate you. And we made you work hard today, right? All right. Thank you very much. The committee shall rise.
Thank you.